Cynthia with Keen Adventures. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about our first visit to Portugal, and I want to tell you how much fun we had. First of all, we took a 10-hour flight. It was a direct flight from San Francisco to Lisbon. It was a long flight. It was a very long flight, I will tell you that. We flew economy. We only took carry-ons, no check bags at all. So we had very limited clothes with us. But we did know in each location we were staying, we did have laundry facilities. So well, not really a delay, but a layover of about 4 hours and flight to the Azores. So we went to, of course, the food court in the airport. We did not leave the airport that day. We were just in the food court area. They had a McDonald's, they had a Pizza Hut, they had a Taco Bell, they had a Starbucks, and they had some more local type foods as well. I took a photo of the Pizza Hut because it was interesting because the selection was so much different than the selection we have here. They have ice cream and things of that nature. It was kind of interesting to see the difference. Also at the KFC, they offered different things other than chicken. So I kind of thought that'd be interesting for people going over there to see kind of what the prices were at the airport, as well as the selection you get at the airport there. The flight to the Azores, we flew to San Miguel Island directly. We flew again on TAP Airlines, and it was about a 2.5 hour flight to get there. By the time we arrived in the Azores, it was already a little after 6 p.m. That is a very small airport. Since we'd already gone through customs at the Lisbon airport, when we got to San Miguel Island, it was really easy just to go out the door and um, immediately to our right, literally across the street, was the rental car that we had gotten. So that was super simple and easy to secure. 10, 15 feet across the street from the entrance of the airport. It was that small of an airport. So it was super easy to get around there. I will say the car that we rented was a stick shift, which was fine. Tim can drive a stick shift. We didn't realize until day 3 though that it had Apple CarPlay on it, which would have been nice to know ahead of time. It's awfully difficult to have a legally blind person navigating you, but we managed for the first 2 days before we realized, hey, CarPlay is available. It would read off the directions, which was much easier than me trying to see it and read it. Anyways, been a total of 5 days in the Azores, all of it on San Miguel Island. We literally did not have enough time to do everything we wanted to do. When we first arrived, we got the car and went to the B&B that we had rented out. Our host met us there. She was extremely, unbelievably pleasant. Showed us around the entire apartment. It was 2 stories tall on the top floor and had a huge balcony overlooking the city. So right outside of the historic center of Ponte d'Agata, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Literally, you could see the ocean from the balcony. It was a beautiful place. It had, of course, the laundry facilities in the Airbnb. It had 2 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms. We spent very little money for this location, and I'll put that up above here so you can have an idea of how much it cost us for the 5 nights that we spent there. Of course, we did go in off season, so it was a little cooler, but the weather was gorgeous when we were there, so no complaints for us. We did take heavier clothes. I did take off my jacket during the day because it was warm enough that you could definitely walk around with, a short sleeve shirt on, maybe a long sleeve thin shirt on. But it was beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So the first night we got there after the host left, we walked down to the mall. It's about 4 blocks away, and they have a huge selection of either, fast food or sit down food, whatever you want to do. And they're open until 10 p.m. So Tim and I, comfortable. It was dark by this time. And then the mall was up the street on the right hand side, maybe a half a mile away at the most. It wasn't very far at all. And they had a huge food court. We selected this dish. This dish is very famous, I want to say, in Porto. Not so much here on the island, but I didn't know if we'd have a chance to get it later in the week. And I thought, well, let's go ahead and try it. It's a very interesting dish. It's got bread, meats, various meats, layered with cheese, kind of a Swiss cheese, I want to say, and then it has a sauce around it underneath it. So it was very interesting. Tim absolutely loved it. We shared the dish. It was like €9.95 plus a drink. So I think we got out of there. He ordered a beer, I ordered a Coke, and I think we spent less than €20 on that first night we were there having food. It was very nice, though. I will say that and I also got dessert to go that night. So I think that's why it ended up being like €20. And I got a chocolate tart type thing. And we took that back to the apartment we were staying in. Of course, after that, we were both exhausted and we slept and slept and slept. I had hoped to get up by 9 a.m. the next morning, but with the jet lag and everything, I think we got up before 10 o'clock and we were out the door before 11, which was excellent. We ended up walking to the downtown area, and here's some of the sights that we saw in the historical downtown area. There is a old fort across the street right on the waterfront. We just looked on the outside of it. It's like €3 to go inside and look throughout. Um, we had other things to do that day, so we really wanted to see a little bit more of the city before heading out to go see the lagoon area. So we spent most of the morning walking around the fort area, walking around the downtown area. Absolutely gorgeous, very friendly city without a doubt. The majority of people spoke English there. We did go to the visitor center. They provided us with a map of the island. The island's not too large. They also provided us with a list of QR codes that tell you about the different hikes you can go on. The gives you different websites about the island and what it has to offer, depending on which QR code you choose and go to. That was extremely helpful. They also told us about the video cameras that they have throughout the island, and that way we could check the video cameras to see what the weather was like prior to actually going there. Because the weather does change quite frequently there, it is in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It's nice to be able to look and see what you might expect, because it could be beautiful and sunny where you're at and can be extremely foggy, rainy at the other side of the island, or just even across the mountain or so. So it was really helpful to understand the weather, and I'll link that site up top as well, so you have an idea if you ever go there, that you can know what your weather is going to be before you choose your location on the island, because it could be vastly different, even though it's a small island, in one area versus another area. And you'll see that we did not check as thoroughly as we should have. So after walking around the downtown area in the morning, we did take a drive to the lagoon area and take several pictures. We attempted a hike here, but the hike that we wanted to do had been washed out by the rains they had had the previous week, so we did not get to do those. We did get to see some beautiful overviews in that area. We did drive down and around to the small town at the base of the little lakes that are inside this cauldron, and had lunch there. I don't remember what we had, but I'm sure, I think it was a hamburger. Tim had a hamburger and I had a pork sandwich. And I think we spent like €12 at the total. We both had a drink and it was not very expensive at all. It was very inexpensive considering the food we got. And I think I have a picture of it that I'll link right here for you. So that's what we did till about 4 p.m. Then we drove back towards our apartment, stopped at a few overlooks, got a few pictures along the way. Absolutely gorgeous, clear day, sunshine. It was about, I'd say, in the upper 60s, low 70s that day. Absolutely gorgeous day. The next morning, again, we got up late, of course. We drove down to Furnace. We wanted to go to the hot springs there at the famous Tara Hasta, I'm going to post it here, the hotel. They've got a beautiful. Hot springs area is supposed to have special healing mineral waters, this, that, and the other. It was extremely foggy there. We did not stay there. We looked around the city a little bit. We had gotten there and it was about 1 p.m. We wanted to go have lunch and have their famous lunch, but it was kind of late already. The hot springs closes at 4 p.m. We knew that we wanted to have lunch at the restaurant that was inside of the hotel. It's supposed to be a 4-star hotel restaurant, very well known, and I'll link it up here as well. And I knew what dish we wanted to have, which was their famous dish with multiple different types of tea. And then right adjacent to that is the area where they have kind of the food that you can order. They had sandwiches, they had some desserts, they had some ice creams, and of course they had tea. They had tea on the other side though that you could have for free, so that was really nice. And Tim and I each had black tea. They also offered the green tea, and we just sat there for a little while, drank our tea, and overlooked the beautiful ocean area. It was absolutely gorgeous. Immediately following that, we drove to a hike because we wanted to do a couple hikes before we left. And we chose the hike on the ocean front first. And this was gorgeous. It was very flat, which I'm a big person for very flat because, as you know, I'm legally blind and it's difficult to climb anything. And I don't like rocks jetting out because those are huge trip hazards when you can't see. But, anyways, this was a very flat hike. It was, when I say flat, I want to say the ground was level. It did go up and down some. There were inclines and declines, but it was a flat surface with amazing views. We took pictures all along this hike, and it was just exceeded our expectations without a doubt. It was amazing. We had a really nice time along this hike. It was windy out, but a lot of areas sometimes you were exposed, sometimes you were right up against the rock and kind of covered. So it kind of varied, but it was a beautiful day out, and the water was just amazing to see. I can't tell you how much I really just enjoyed this walk. I really enjoyed seeing the pictures afterwards because then I can see them better. But anyways, it was gorgeous. We had a lovely time doing this. Following that hike, we drove down to another hike that we wanted to do that we could see a waterfall from. On our way down there, we stopped and got a pizza, which Tim and I shared. We got a pizza and a soda we shared, and I think it was less than 10 euros total for both of it. I think the pizza was like 8 euros and the drink was euro 50. So they cooked it right there on the spot for us. We got bacon and pepperoni on a cheese pizza. Wonderful. It was just kind of a random place we stopped at. They were very fast, very friendly. You actually pay after you eat, which kind of surprised us. They brought everything out to us. So nice, so very nice. And everyone we ran into along this whole way spoke English for the most part. I would say 90% of them spoke some type of English. And if they didn't, they got their translator out on their phones to speak to you. Actually, I don't think this ever happened to us in San Miguel on the island at all, where they spoke to us through a translator. I think for the most part on that island, it was not difficult at all for us to manage in English at all, with our extremely limited Portuguese, which was basically good day, is I think all I really know. Anyways, back to the second hike we went on to. This was surprising to us that we knew it had a waterfall at the end of it, and I knew that it had grates. I don't think I realized that it was so high in the air. It was like a catwalk. Luckily, it had a handrail along the entire side of it, because literally it was 100 feet in the air, with a huge pipe running underneath it. So it was extremely different from any other hike we've ever been on. Very level, very easy to walk, but extremely high in the air, and very surprising for that reason. I had seen some pictures along it, but I hadn't realized how high up you were in this on this hike. It was different, and it was fun. It was a little exhilarating. My sense of height has, for my fear level, has decreased a lot since I can't see very well. I can't tell how far the ground is away. So for me, it was really nice. I didn't feel as anxious as I would have felt probably 10 years ago when I could see how far the ground was away. So it was nice. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was, it was great. So it was level. So it was easy to walk along. Again, there was a handrail along the entire side of it. There was a huge pipe underneath it. So it wasn't like it was dangerous at all. It was extremely safe. And just the views were amazing. Just amazing to watch all the water rushing through, and then the waterfall at the end was just absolutely gorgeous. Um, Definitely would recommend both of these hikes if you're ever out there on that island. Um, it was definitely worth it for us. Though that was the last day we were there on San Miguel Island. After our hike, we were kind of exhausted from the other hike before, and I think we walked a total of 8 or 9 miles that day which was a lot, but it was definitely worth it. It was amazing, and we had a fabulous time. We had done our laundry earlier in the day and hung it out, and it was dry by the time we got home, and we packed because we were leaving the next day. So I just want to kind of give everybody an idea of what we did when we were in San Miguel, kind of our experience out there, and just how amazing and unexpected it was. We did not do half of the things that I had hoped to do when we were out there. There's so many sites we missed. We will definitely be going back there, but it was amazing. It was definitely worth it. I can hardly wait to go spend some real solid time out there. I wanted to mention we used the All Trails app when we were in San Miguel. There are 231 trails listed on the All Trails app. We only have the free version of it, but there are quite a few. That's before I started filtering for the difficulty of the trails and the suitability of it, as well as the star ratings. But there were several different trails that you could choose from, and lots of pictures online of what types of things you would see along that trail.